Hello, I am your Super Teacher Garby, and today we'll be learning about formats. What are formats and what do they have to do with Yu-Gi-Oh? A format is a period of time in the competitive game scene. When someone's talking about the format in Yu-Gi-Oh, they're discussing the current format usually. Which decks are currently winning the most in current day tournaments? Which decks are doing better than what most anticipated? These formats are often broken down into tiers. While there is no official tier list and it is mostly subjective, the community comes together and there is a general collective agreement about which decks are good, which decks are mid, and which decks are bad. Formats greatly alter depending on tournament results and the ban list. One deck that was considered the best 4 months later can be considered unplayable. We often hear terms like unhealthy format and healthy format. What is considered healthy? What is considered unhealthy for the game of Yu-Gi-Oh? It is entirely subjective. Some enjoy formats where it is diverse, where many decks are being represented in tournaments. There are some formats that a couple players enjoy where only a couple decks are good, but they are more skill intensive. There are formats where the best decks are control or stun based decks. Other times the best decks are combo decks that scare the average Yu-Gi boomer. The majority of the player base hates Tier 0 as it is a format that doesn't enable innovation or diversity. The term Rogue means that you are playing a deck that poses a threat but is not considered one of the best decks of the format. Rogue decks are often considered to be miscategorized as casual decks, but when in actuality, they really are not. Rogue decks are designed to beat specific top level strategies, and while most of the time they struggle and don't go far, they are still challenging decks that on random occasions can lead to a top cut. Popular formats of the past include the 2005 GOAT format. Named after the popular deck at the time of GOAT Control, this is a style of Yu-Gi-Oh that most players often identify with when they first started playing the game. 2005 is when the Yu-Gi-Oh game became popular due to the anime also being popular as well. Then there's the 2010 Edison format where synchros start to be utilized. This format is when the game started to pick up in terms of speed and complexities. The format in 2011, known as Tengu Plant format, has the release of Reborn Tengu, a card so good that the decks of the time abused strategies with it. After that, we got the Hat format, which stands for Hands, Artifacts, and Trap Tricks. This is the 2014 format to which XCs were around, but ended on the release of Duelist Alliance with the introduction of Pendulums, Satellar Knights, Burning Abyss, and Shaddolls. The release of the Duelist Alliance set really did change the game, as the previous tier 1 decks and strategies from the previous formats were no longer good as it couldn't match up with the current power scaling of the game. In 2019 came the Eternal format, also known as the Toss format, standing for Thunder Dragon, Orcus, Sky Strikers, and Salamangreat being the top decks. It was also a period in time to which a lot of diversity was happening, as Pendulums became a threat as well as fan favorite decks including Trickstars in its last run of being competitive. Which brings us to today, with the Advanced format and the Traditional format. Traditional format is what happens if every banned card becomes limited to 1. Despite it being an official format of Yu-Gi-Oh! By Konami, most people often ignore it. The majority of players play the Advanced format where there is a ban list that players follow, with players being able to use all the newest cards. Advanced formats can simply be known as the current format, what is currently happening in the current game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Konami are doing Time Wizard events in tournaments now where players can bring their old decks to play from previous formats. While it is still a smaller scale compared to advanced formats, if you don't enjoy the modern game of Yu-Gi-Oh! And you don't want to participate in it or play the advanced format, there are locals that exist that do have old format tournaments. But if you don't play the advanced format or the current format, you'll be missing out on the current evolution of the game. And so that does it for today's lesson. Thank you for tuning in. Feel free to hit like and subscribe. I hope you do well in today's quiz, and until next time, see you later.
It's quiz time!